event number 6 for the individuals here at the North Park at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. Your overall standings through 5. Ricky Garrard is pulling away. He now leads Roman Krennikov by 78 points. Justin Medeiros sits in 3rd. He is 12 points back of Krennikov. Jeffrey Adler has moved into 4th, and Lazar Jukic is into the top 5, and Sam Quant has now moved up to 6th. Up and over is event number 6.
3 rounds for time, muscle-ups, jump overs, 25 reps. That changes every round, followed by 30 GHD sit-ups. And when that's all completed, taking it right into an 84-foot front rack lunge, 185 on the bar with that axle bar. And these logs that these athletes are going to have to jump over again, their torso can't touch it. And you look at the things that are getting taxed the most, it's like Chubb said, it's all in the hips, Sean. It's all in the hips. The hips are going to take a hit if they haven't taken one already after this morning. But with the jump overs and the GHD sit-ups, coupling that with the muscle-ups to bring that into that final lunge, if it comes out to a lunge race, it's really going to come down to who wants it more.
And who can go to his happy place and ignore the pain to get through this event. 20 men in this second of 2 heats. Overall leader Ricky Garrard will be in lane number 10. We mentioned Sam Quant. He finished 2nd a couple of years ago at the CrossFit Games in 2020 in Morgan Hill when it was just 5 men competing in person. Missed out last year, but he is climbing up the leaderboard here. Ricky Garrard, though, has been Mr. Consistency. 2 event wins so far, and doesn't look like he is going to slow up at all right now.
But if there's a wrinkle in the fabric for Ricky, it's compared to that quarterfinal event in this field, he was in the bottom 10 with an event very similar to this.
Send it down to Mike Arsenault.
Well, at the start of the week, we were fully expecting an Australian athlete to be at the top of the leaderboard in the individual competition. We just thought it was going to be Tia-Clair Toomey and not Ricky Garrard. He's starting to reach exit velocity, a 78-point lead here through 6 scored events. 7th is his worst place so far, and his confidence is just continuing to build. We're seeing he's almost like a ball rolling down a hill. Every event that he does well in, his confidence just continues to climb. I asked him how he's feeling. He's very relaxed. He's taking it one event at a time. And he says, I don't have pressure. Everyone else has pressure. They're the ones chasing me.
30 seconds.
And there is Ricky Garrard with a 78-point lead over Roman Krennikov and a 90-point lead over Justin Medeiros. We mentioned Sam Quant. Right now, 6th place overall, and he's moved up from 26th after event 1.
He just does it so quietly and so casually, but you know, Quant is one of those athletes that I had in the top 10 as a potential to surprise some people, and he's already doing it in the place that he's in.
A little windy there in the North Park, but everyone has to deal with it. And here we go. Heat number 2.
Now,
and you can see some guys struggling to get up to the rings there because those things were blown around pretty well.
And I was talking about Ricky and in an event like this we saw at the quarterfinals. This happens every year where we see something earlier in the season maybe rear its head at the CrossFit Games. In 2017, it was the open workout 17.5, but with heavier weights between the thrusters and the double unders. Last year, it was the wall walk coming back with heavy thrusters. We've seen a lot of this over the years, and this is really a beefed up version of that quarterfinal qualifying event number 2, which was 3 rounds for time of muscle-ups, pistols, and GHD sit-ups.
Already on to the 25 up and overs on the log. Medeiros and Ricky Garrard right next to each other. Here comes Roman Krennikov. And Garrard right now has the lead slightly over Olsen, Quant, Medeiros, and Gumanson.
Talking about where you can make your move. For this movement, for everybody, there's not a big separator here as far as difficulty of movement or height of the log. It's just your ability to navigate through this without losing ground on the field. But after the second round, we still have the GHD sit-ups after this, and then as we go back to the round. But those boxes on the left side of your screen at 42 inches and 25 reps is a huge opportunity to either separate yourself or fall behind the pack. So when that second round comes up, really keep your eye on how people are going to pace those out.
Ricky Garrard and one of the Panchiks onto the GHDs. It is Saxon Panchik, and here comes Justin Medeiros. So 30 reps here to close out round number 1. Enrico Zanoni has your top time, 14 minutes, 18.12 seconds. And it's Saxon Panchik right now who is in the lead.
You can see in the background at the Zeus rig, those rings swaying everywhere. And, you know, talk to some coaches is that their game plans on the muscle-ups might change, obviously based off their athlete's ability to maybe handle 12 reps. But the other is it almost worth coming off the rings and have them swing around even more, the time lost versus the effort gained between taking a break or going unbroken?
Saxon Panchik, your leader right now, 9th place overall after taking 12th in the prior event. So he's been creeping up the leaderboard as well.
Just look through that extension on the back part of the GHD sit-ups. A lot of hip flexors involved. Just the muscle group that's in charge of opening and closing at the hip. You just bend over and touch your toes and stand up. That's the muscle group we're isolating on the GHD sit-ups, and that has a dramatic effect on the athlete's ability to turn over on the ring muscle-ups.
Panchik, Garrard, Gudmundsson, Olsen, and Medeiros all done with round 1. There are 205 scored repetitions in this event. And Panchik is through 70 of those. At the 79 rep mark is when he will move on to his next set of up and overs, and this time it's that 42-inch box. And remember, you can only touch it with your feet on your way over.
It's a lot of effort every jump for 25 reps. Ricky on the right side, looks like he took a break right around 7 where Panchik went unbroken. Medeiros took a break as well.
So Saxon Panchik now to the 42-inch box, 25 reps here. The 104 rep mark is when he will move on to the GHDs. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson has moved into second. Here comes Ricky Garrard and Noah Olsen.
There's so much effort per rep on these box jump overs at this height. 42 inches, just over a meter tall. Just a lot of things are getting tested and taxed. Obviously, we said the hips as well, but just the exertion. And think of it as far as like, okay, well, what does the difference really feel like? Okay, well, would you rather do regular burpees off the ground or bar-facing burpees when you have to jump over a bar? We're talking about maybe a 6 to 8 inch difference in clearance for the burpee, but it's so much more physically demanding. Your average box height for a male athlete in the sport is right around 24 inches, where the highest one's 30. We're adding a foot to this. So imagine how much more difficult that is from, say, your regular 24-inch box, nearly increasing it by another 2 feet.
Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson, we mentioned earlier, doing Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson things, just sneaking around, and now he's inside the top 10 for the first time after taking 9th in the Capital event. Breaks a string of finishes that he had outside the top 20. He was 24th in the shuttle to overhead, the second portion of that event, and then he was 25th in the skill speed medley, but second in Elizabeth elevated, and then 9th. So here comes Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson into the top 10, where we're accustomed to seeing him. Saxon Panchik moving on to the GHDs. Bear Complex, the official grip of the Noble CrossFit Games. Head to bearcomplex.com to shop the best grips on the planet, up to 15% off. Saxon Panchik, the only man on his second set of GHD sit-ups.
As you said before, and just like Boz had predicted, is that where you can gain some ground on the rest of the field, and he has put a substantial gap between him and the field.
And here comes Pat Vellner, who has moved towards the front with Ricky Garrard and Sam Quant.
BKG is in the mix as well, so Vellner made a very big move on those box jump overs. And if you want to think about where does Vellner tend to always succeed the most, and it's events out here in the North Park with really classic CrossFit movements. We have the gymnastics with the GHD and the ring muscle-ups, as well as the box jump overs. It's a very good event for Pat Vellner's skill set, but Saxon Panchik is not backing down as he moves into his third round.
12 more ring muscle-ups for Saxon Panchik, trying to chase down Enrico Zannoni's top time of 14:18.12 seconds. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson and Sam Quant, Noah Olsen, and Ricky Garrard have all caught and passed Pat Vellner on the GHD portion of round 2 as Panchik is into round 3, third and final round.
He's gone unbroken the first 2 rounds. The athletes chasing him has all broke one time. At least between Medeiros and Garrard, but I don't even see them off the GHD yet.
Well, here comes Garrard, Quant, and Gudmundsson, as well as Pat Vellner back to the rings as Saxon Panchik only has 3 reps remaining before he moves on to his final set of up and overs, and it's a jump up and over the pig without touching it.
And it looks like Saxon had broke at 6 or 7, so he did his last set into 2 sets. And the backside of your screen just on the right, Pat Vellner, who is exceptional at high volume ring muscle-ups.
You know, you've talked about how difficult that lunge was. The compounding effect of what these athletes are doing here in the middle portion of this event is making that movement even more difficult.
Absolutely, and think of one thing that we didn't talk about. We talk about the movement itself as being a detriment or an interference of the movement. Look at Saxon's body when he lands. Every landing, legs, quads, that landing takes its toll. It's not just the movement itself, but part of this, coming off a high box, landing over a box jump over or a clear over, takes its toll physically just as much, sometimes more, depending on how athletic you are when you do land, as the movement itself.
Sam Quant and Bjorn Gudmundsson on the right side. Noah Olsen is on the left in the gray shorts. They're trying to cut into Saxon Panchik's lead, but now he is on to his final set of GHD sit-ups. 30 reps for him here, and then it's on to that 185-pound axle bar. And Ricky Garrard has moved into third, along with Cole Sager and Bjorn Gudmundsson. Now Pat Vellner is on to the jump overs on the pig as well.
Now Ricky looking a little fatigued here in the middle portion, and you know, we saw Ricky at the first event at the Torium Pro, a bigger chipper style, but a lot of different movements in there, and a lot of times just depending on managing that fatigue, it's a delicate balance in an event like this.
First and third overall on your screen. Justin Medeiros in third place on the left with 471 points. Ricky Garrard done with his box jump overs, and all he needs to do right now is just stay close to Medeiros and Krennikov.
Yeah, you can't really concern yourself with what Saxon's doing on the other side of the field. He's so far out of contention, at least for your podium or first place position. You don't want to let that trap you into doing something of which your key priority, as you said, Sean, is staying ahead of Medeiros and Krennikov.
Saxon Panchik is now done with the 3 rounds of the muscle-ups, the up and overs, and the GHDs, and the 185-pound axle bar awaits time to beat his 14:18.12 seconds from Enrico Zannoni in Heat 1. And here goes Saxon Panchik. 84 feet. He'll get a rep for every line he clears. Saxon Panchik right now the only man onto the axle bar.
You saw Saxon switch hand positions in the middle of that, and a lot of that is, it's not necessarily grasping at straws towards the end, but it's the end of whatever it takes.
Here comes Ricky Garrard, solidly in second place behind Saxon Panchik.
I like how he just put his hands on the bar and just got it to the front rack position.
There goes Ricky, who looks to increase his lead yet again.
Right, you saw he had his fingertips on the bar. It gives you a better shelf and rack position, but the fingertips start to pink off the bar, and then once that happens, his last resort is just cross it over into that genie front rack position.
Justin Medeiros is on to the front rack lunges. Saxon Panchik is going to win event number 6. Ricky Garrard and Justin Medeiros in a fight for second. Now for Garrard again, he just has to stay close to Medeiros. If Medeiros beats him across the finish here, he's only going to pick up 3 points. And here comes Justin.
Oh, he had to step Ricky back behind the line.
So Medeiros is going to come in ahead of Ricky Garrard. Medeiros will take second place in the event. Ricky Garrard will take third. And he will only surrender 3 points to the defending champ.
The same shell game we saw Medeiros play on Vellner in the final day of competition last year.
Sam Quant and Bjorven Gudmundsson coming in. Quant in just ahead of Gudmundsson. Quant is in. That'll be good enough for a 4th place finish in the event. And Bjorven Carl Gudmundsson 5th.
Just a straight shot down the fairway. Probably used a 3-iron. You know, it doesn't get out the big dog. I don't need to go left into the woods.
That looks like Pat Vellner towards the top of the screen, so Vellner is trying to get back on track here. He can still finish in 7th place in the event as Cole Sager has just come across the finish line. So Vellner with the barbell down, and he is done. There's Uldis Upniks coming across. Oh. He'll take 9th.
Uldis had his legs lock up. To me, that's just a sign of maybe cramping.
And there's Jonakowski who's in. Spencer Panchik also finished. Spencer's going to take 10th. Kosi's going to take 12th in the event. There's Jeff Adler and Roman Krenikov. But Justin Medeiros was only 12 points back of Krenikov, and it's likely that Medeiros is going to erase that deficit and move into 2nd place overall. There's Jason Hopper. Willie Georges is done. Alexander Caron is across the finish. 15:02.20 seconds for Caron. And Lazar Jukic is in. Travis Mayer also finished. Leaves Nick Matthew, Jason Hopper, and Will Morad left on the field. And Matthew will be the next man to be done just ahead of Will Morad. So Jason Hopper has plenty of time to finish. Hopper, who came in 10th place overall, he finished 5th in the Capital event, but he's had an up and down competition. And he'll be outside the top 20 with this result.
That's talented. To recover from that, from this morning, is a tough thing to do, especially with this event on the tail end of it.
Hopper is across. And with that, Event number 6 for the men is done, and Saxon Panchik picks up his first win of the competition. "12 minutes, 40 seconds flat for Saxon Panchik, the only man to go sub-13. Justin Medeiros is going to pick up 3 points on Ricky Garrard. Sam Quant will finish 4th, and Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson, right where we're used to seeing him, 5th place. Mr. Consistency.
Saxon Panchik, we didn't talk about it over the first round, but in the second round, when he got to the box, I think someone told him where the key to the event is to get ahead of everybody. He got ahead on the box jump overs, but he really made a big push after these GHD sit-ups. Had enough time at the end to actually take 1 break on the ring muscle-ups in the third round, but once he got to the end, only had to take 1 or 2 breaks. In fact, he got right to the end, dropped the bar, had to reset and pick it back up. But he had enough distance and enough work done between then and the finish line that Saxon Panchik doing what we thought we'd see more of across the weekend here in this event.
And he is with Mike Arsenault.